So there's a story doing the rounds at the moment. Well, there's numerous stories, and they're all sort of component parts of one big thing, which I'll summarise in this video, which is Nikola Vlasic, Benrahma and Benrahma Longelo are all up for sale. And I've covered all of them individually at one point or another, but this seems to be spun with a narrative that we're selling them on one of the articles so as we can bring in Jesse Lingard and to free up some funds. I don't know why that's the case. I'm going to leave that for a second. But it just made me think what an absolute disaster all the transfers have been. And I think the first thing I thought when I read it, particularly the Vlasic and Benrahma one, was, well, to who? To who? It's almost put out there. It's not really a statement because it's all sort of drip fed and there's no official club statement. They're up for sale. No club would really do that, but they are for sale. But I did thought, who? To who? Who, honestly, is going to buy Vlasic and who's going to buy Benrahma? In many respects, I think you've got more of a chance of selling Vlasic. And for the reason being that Vlasic has got a reputation on the continent. He's got a good reputation. He's held in high regard for his national team with Croatia. He's certainly got the backing of his national team manager behind him who's actively trying to find him a club. As I say, he's played overseas before. Don't get me wrong, we're losing money. And we're going to lose big money on all of these players. Well, not Longelo, but we'll get to him in a minute. We're actually never going to make any money out of him. And my worry about him is the amount of clubs that are interested in him. But funny enough, we don't seem to be. Anyway, let's get back to Vlasic and Benrahma. Massive loss on Vlasic. Benrahma, I just don't see who he goes to. I mean, he's going to... It's funny, actually. I look at any club and I think, actually, he's probably going to go to a lesser club than West Ham. And in many respects, if he does, it almost probably vindicates us not using him because he's not going to do a Sebastian Haller. I don't think he's going to Ajax and he's going to rip up the Champions League next season, although I do think he's got tons of ability. But I do think we've let him down. I think we've let ourselves down. And I just was looking at the composition of the transfer deals on both of these. I thought, how did this ever happen? Now, I'm aware that all of this is completely irrelevant, our buying and selling. So what I'm doing is criticising our buying and selling again. I'm surprised we've done it. After the massive losses on Haller and Felipe Anderson, I'm surprised we've done it again, but we have. And all this doesn't... Actually, it doesn't matter. If next season we finish top 6, top 7, have a good run in the Cups again, actually, it almost doesn't matter because David Moyes can always point and say, well, what do you care how I'm buying and selling? I'm getting results on the pitch. You've had your 3 best seasons all in a row. All right, so I get that, right? But the hemorrhaging of money is a concern. And when I looked at it, I thought, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for the conversations of these transfers. Someone's mucked up here. Either the board have mucked up and bought a player over David Moyes, or David Moyes has bought 2 players and wasted the board's money. Whatever way that happened, and we'll never know. None of us are in the room, unless Moisey or David Sullivan are watching this. In which case, tell us, let us know. Sullivan hasn't got back to me with the email the other day, by the way. Anyway, doesn't matter. Don't expect him to. It's fine. What's the composition of that conversation? I do wonder. Because it can't all be sort of happy. They can't be chilled. Here's what I'm saying. Sullivan and Moyes both can't be chilled about this. Because if it's Moyes that's wasted Sullivan's money, surely Sullivan's going to sit down and go, mate, you want me to write more cheques for you? You bought Vlasic, completely wasted him. You don't play him. He's now worth about 15-20 million pound less. And also we've got this guy Benrahma in. You don't utilise him enough. There's no way we're going to get our money back, which was probably about 24 million. We're probably going to get about, I think, 12 to 15 million for Benrahma if we're lucky. And I'd be just saying, you've lost us all this money. What's the crack? It is really a strange one. And the flip side of that is David Moyes turning around and saying, look, you keep forcing these players upon me. And I just wonder if the whole thing is David Moyes basically demonstrating, you buy these players for big money, I'm not going to use them. Which is why I think possibly, if that is the case, that's why we didn't buy Gabigol in the January window. If you remember, he was the Flamengo striker. Took one look at him to look anything like a David Moyes type player. And but apparently the owners wanted to buy him on an 18-month loan with a view to a permanent transfer. I just wonder if at that point Moyes said, I won't play him. Get him in, I will not play him. Allardyce used to do the same thing, by and large, basically, which I think is what happened to Diafra Sakho, by the way. That's why even though Sakho was banging the goals in, remember Sakho and Valencia banging those goals in, Stuart Downing was playing just behind the front two in a central position, almost as number 10. Stuart Downing actually got his England place back. And then even, I think we were 4th in the league or something like that, and Allardyce uttered the immortal words, we've got to find a way to get Andy Carroll and Kevin Nolan back in the team. And he completely chopped the team around. He put his own players back in there, he took Sullivan's players out, and went whoop, and ultimately it cost him his job in the end. Before I get on to a little bit more Benrahma and Manny Longelo, which I'm not happy about, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app, which you can download by clicking that link below or that QR code up there. The OneFootball app is really the only place to keep up to date with all the West Ham transfer news. Actually, it's not the only place. You could go and do it all individually if you want. You could read every newspaper, you could read every website, but with the OneFootball app, you don't have to do that. It puts it all together for you, because when you sign up, and it is free, it's absolutely free, you say, I support West Ham, and it puts all the West Ham news together in one place for you. That's the OneFootball app. Use the link, which is in the text, literally just below this screen. So the Benrahma one is a massive concern, because you have to say it's a failed transfer. It just is. We might disagree on whose fault it is. We might say, well, it's nothing to do with Benrahma that it's a failed transfer. You might say it's nothing to do with David Moyes that it's a failed transfer because it was Sullivan signing or whatever. We're all going to blame someone else. But you can't turn around and say it's a successful transfer. Somebody that plays for you for a couple of years is a bit part player, a substitute. When they sign for 25 million, ends up getting sold for less, and officially but unofficially put on the transfer list. It's not a successful transfer. But I tell you what, it's a rip-roaring success compared to Vlasic. I mean, Vlasic is a terrible, terrible deal. It's the sort of deal we cannot get wrong in this upcoming transfer window. So we go to Longelo. So loads of clubs are interested in him. Rangers are interested. So Rangers might be, the name escapes me, the good left back, the one Gio keeps on going on about. I know a lot of people is it Shirley Bassey? Apparently he's going to Aston Villa, who already have a really good left back. But they don't care. You can't have too many left backs. Well, actually you can if you're West Ham. We don't need many at West Ham. And so apparently Rangers see Longelo as a really good replacement, as an up-and-coming one. Now we understand that Nottingham Forest are interested in him. And then apparently Brentford are also interested as an understudy to Rico Henry. The thing is, even when we had no left-backs, Cresswell was injured, right? This is what happened at one point this season. Cresswell was injured. Masuaku was injured. And Soufal was injured. The reason Soufal is important because it meant Ben Johnson couldn't cover on the left. It meant Ben Johnson had to play on the right. He still didn't pick Longelo, even though he'd played really well in the final group game in the Europa League. It was just absolutely crazy, really. So Moyes doesn't fancy him. Look, I'm always happy to back the manager in terms of maybe he knows something that we don't. But you do get the impression, you really do get the impression that Manny Longelo deserved his chance. Now I don't know whether he's going to go on and achieve great things. People often make the point, but there's not too many players that have left West Ham and come back and bitten us on the arse, so to speak. And I get that, I understand that, but just because that hasn't happened in the past doesn't mean it's never going to happen in the future. And I don't mind people trying and failing, but at least try them, at least give him a go. And this is why I've spoken about Elise before, and I'll speak about him again. So I just think he doesn't have a future, because even when we had almost no centre backs at all, he still didn't get a game. I am a little bit concerned about our transfer strategy. We're nearly there. The transfer window is upon us. But I just found it strange, we're putting these players up for sale. Where do they go and for how much? I'll tell you what, I'd be interested. As a question for you lot, I'd be very, very interested to know what you think in terms of that. How much do you think we would get for Benrahma? And how much do you think we would get for Vlasic? The Vlasic one is more difficult. I've got to be honest with you, I'm more interested in what you think about Benrahma on this one. Because I've got to be honest, as I say, I thought sort of 12 to 15 million, if we're lucky. To 24 million, forget it. We're not seeing it back. 20 million, I don't think anyone comes in for Benrahma at 20 million quid. And I don't blame Benrahma, by the way. I think it's us that have forced his price down. I'll tell you what, West Ham, we're very good at doing that.